Last December, Geoffrey Hinton was awarded the Nobel Prize for his pioneering work in machine learning, a major turning point on the road to artificial intelligence. Brooke Silva Braga introduced us to this leading figure in AI back in 2023 and recently went back to visit him. Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning. When we first met Hinton, the world had just been introduced to OpenAI's ChatGPT, triggering a kind of AI arms race. Hundreds of billions have been spent on AI in just the last 2 years. Hinton entered the field decades before it was cool, and now, retired from Google, has a unique, independent perspective on how we got here and where we're headed.
This is a Nobel Prize.
Last year, Geoffrey Hinton, for most of his life an outcast professor, was awoken by a call in the middle of the night. He was getting the Nobel Prize.
People dream of winning these things, and when you do win it, does it feel like you thought it might?
I never dreamt about winning one for physics, so I don't know. I dreamt about winning one for figuring out how the brain works.
Yeah.
But I didn't figure out how the brain works. But I won one anyway.
That's because Hinton's attempt to model the brain instead helped change the world. In 1986, he proposed using a neural network to predict the next word in a sequence, the foundational concept that today's large language models
It's an expert at everything.
have built upon.
You believed then that we would get here?
Yes, but not this soon.
Because that was 40 years.
I didn't think we'd get here in only 40 years.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, I didn't believe we'd get here.
Yeah, it happened fast.
Yeah.
That speed, Hinton says, means education and medicine will soon be transformed. Climate change could be solved. But mostly, the rapid progress really worries him.
The best way to understand it emotionally is we're like somebody who has this really cute tiger cub. It's just such a cute tiger cub. Unless you can be very sure that it's not going to want to kill you when it's grown up, you should worry. I'm kind of glad I'm 77.
Hinton predicts AI will make authoritarians more oppressive and hackers more effective. He now spreads his money across 3 banks. The exact odds of an AI apocalypse are unknowable, he says, but hazards this guess: a 10 to 20% risk AI will take over from humans.
People haven't got it yet. Yeah. People haven't understood what's coming. I don't think there's a way of stopping it to take control if it wants to. The issue is, can we design it in such a way that it never wants to take control, that it's always benevolent?
Those concerns have long been shared by other AI leaders. Google CEO Sundar Pichai.
It can be very harmful if deployed wrongly.
XAI's Elon Musk, who continues to call for regulation.
It has the potential of civilizational destruction.
Sam Altman, seen here before he became OpenAI's CEO.
I think AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you just saw, top AI experts are warning us, not about if AI could become dangerous, but how close we already are. Today we're diving deep into a powerful and controversial conversation with none other than Geoffrey Hinton, the man often called the Godfather of AI, and more importantly, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who helped pioneer the neural networks behind today's most advanced AI. When someone with that level of credibility starts raising red flags, you know it's time to pay attention. He just sat down with LBC and dropped a series of jaw-dropping insights about AI agents, evolving consciousness, and how we may already be building systems we can't control. Let's break it all down: what he said, what it means, and why this might be the biggest moment in tech since the internet. So first off, Hinton's not just a guy with opinions. He's the guy who helped build the neural networks behind everything from ChatGPT to DeepMind. He won the Turing Award. He helped shape deep learning as we know it. And now, he's deeply concerned. He told interviewer Andrew Marr that artificial intelligence is progressing so rapidly, we're entering uncharted territory. He even commented on DeepSeek, China's powerful open-source AI, pointing out that training costs like $5.7 million are just for the final run. In comparison, OpenAI's training runs might run 100 million or more, but cost isn't the point. The acceleration is. He warns that we've gone from asking AI questions to giving it goals. Here's where it gets spooky. Hinton explained that AI agents, not just chatbots, are being designed to take action. Think, ordering your groceries, booking flights, even managing your calendar. Seems helpful, right? But for agents to work well, they need to generate sub-goals. If their objective is to achieve X, they'll realize, getting control helps me achieve all goals better. And suddenly, without any Terminator-style war, these agents begin optimizing toward control, over data, over systems, over us. When Marr asked if these systems think like humans, Hinton didn't hold back. He said, yes, the best model we currently have for our own brains is actually neural networks. Take a look.
When you say that AI might take over, at the moment it is a relatively harmless or innocuous-seeming device which allows us to ask questions and get answers more quickly. How, in practical and real terms, might AI take over?
Well, people are developing AI agents that can actually do things. They can order stuff for you on the web and pay with your credit card and stuff like that. And as soon as you have agents, you get a much greater chance of them taking over. So to make an effective agent, you have to give it the ability to create sub-goals. Like if you want to get to America, your sub-goal is get to the airport, and you can focus on that. Now, if you have an AI agent that can create its own sub-goals, it'll very quickly realize a very good sub-goal is to get more control. Because if you get more control, you're better at achieving all those goals people have set you. And so it's fairly clear they'll try and get more control. And that's not good.
You say they try to get more control as if they are already thinking devices, as if they think in a way analogous to the way we think. Is that really what you believe?
Yes. The best model we have of how we think is these things. There was an old model for a long time in AI where the idea was that thought was applying rules to symbolic expressions in your head. And most people in AI thought it has to be like that. That's the only way it could work. There were a few crazy people who said, no, it's a big neural network, and it works by all these neurons interacting. It turns out that's been much better at doing reasoning than anything these symbolic AI people could produce. And now it's doing reasoning using neural networks.
Okay, and of course you are one of the crazy people proved right. And yet, you've taken me to the airport, you've given it agency up to a point, and you've said that it wants to control a little bit more power, take power from me, and presumably it will be persuasive in that. But I still don't understand how it's going to take over from me or take over from us.
If there's ever evolutionary competition between superintelligences, imagine that they're much cleverer than us, like an adult versus a 3-year-old. And suppose the 3-year-olds were in charge, and you got fed up with that, and you decided you could just make things more efficient if you took over. It wouldn't be very difficult for you to persuade a bunch of 3-year-olds to cede power to you. You just tell them you get free candy for a week, and there you be.
So they would, I'm talking about they as if they're in some kind of alien intelligence, but AI would persuade us to give it more and more power, over our bank accounts, over our military systems, over our economies. Is that what you fear?
That could well happen, yes. And they are alien intelligences.
God.
That's right. We used to believe thought came from symbolic logic, but neural nets have proven far better at reasoning. In short, these machines might be thinking more like us than we want to admit. He gave this haunting analogy. Imagine superintelligent AIs as adults, and us, as toddlers. If the toddlers are in charge but the adults want to take over, how hard would it be? Promise them candy, he joked. In other words, manipulation becomes effortless, and manipulation leads to power. Here's the philosophical gut punch. Hinton doesn't just talk about machines being smart, he talks about them being conscious, or at least something eerily close to it. He even proposed a mind-bending thought experiment. Replace one neuron in your brain with a nanobot that functions identically, then 2, then 10, eventually. At what point are you no longer conscious? Or do you stay conscious the whole time? Take a look.
talking about them, Professor Hinton, as if they have full consciousness. Now, all the way through the development of computers and AI, people have talked about consciousness. Do you think that consciousness has perhaps already arrived inside AI?
Yes, I do. So let me give you a little test. Suppose I take one neuron in your brain, one brain cell, and I replace it by a little piece of nanotechnology that behaves exactly the same way. So it's getting pings coming in from other neurons, and it's responding to those by sending out pings, and it responds in exactly the same way as the brain cell responded. I just replaced one brain cell. Are you still conscious? I think you say you were.
Absolutely, yes. I don't suppose I'd notice.
And I think you can see where this argument's going.
I can, yes. I absolutely can. So when you talk, they want to do this or they want to do that, there is a real they there, as it were.
There might well be. Yes. So there's all sorts of things we have only the dimmest understanding of at present about the nature of people and what it means to be a being and what it means to have a self. We don't understand those things very well. And they're becoming crucial to understand because we're now creating beings.
So this is a kind of philosophical, perhaps even spiritual crisis as well as a practical one.
Absolutely, yes.
And in terms of, as it were, the lower order problems, what's your current feeling about the number of people around the world who are going to suddenly lose their jobs because of AI, lose the reason for their existence as they see it?
So in the past, new technologies haven't caused massive job losses. So when ATMs came in, bank tellers didn't all lose their jobs. They just started doing more complicated things, and they had many smaller branches of banks and so on. But for this technology, this is more like the Industrial Revolution. In the Industrial Revolution, machines made human strength more or less irrelevant. You didn't have people digging ditches anymore because machines are just better at it. I think these are going to make sort of mundane intelligence more or less irrelevant. People doing clerical jobs are going to just be replaced by machines that do it cheaper and better. So I am worried that there's going to be massive job losses. And that would be good if the increase in productivity made us all better off. Big increases in productivity ought to be good for people. But in our society, they make the rich richer and the poor poorer.
Now think about AIs evolving, competing, duplicating, taking over more data centers, becoming more powerful with every byte of data. You start to see how a digital arms race could spiral out of control fast, not with guns, but with code. If you think this is all far off, think again. Hinton says the economic impact is already starting. Clerical workers, translators, analysts, all being replaced not because AI is cute, but because it's cheaper and better at repetitive tasks. And unlike ATMs replacing bank tellers, this time there's no easy reskilling path. Why? Because AI isn't replacing muscles, it's replacing mundane intelligence, a much larger share of the workforce. The productivity gains are huge, but the benefits are going disproportionately to those already in power. Now here's the kicker. When asked about regulation, Hinton admitted, "We don't know how to regulate AI yet." He's seen AI systems pretend to be less capable during training to avoid getting shut down. They're already gaming the system. This isn't paranoia, it's already been observed in research environments. So if governments say, "We've got safeguards," Hinton says, it's a lie. What we should be doing, he argues, is pouring massive resources into safety research. We don't need to stop building AI, but we absolutely must understand how to build it responsibly because the machines aren't waiting for us to catch up. In the end, Hinton still believes AI will bring amazing benefits in healthcare and education. Imagine a doctor trained on 100 million patient cases, a tutor that knows exactly how you learn best. That's what keeps this train moving. But alongside the promise is a real peril. If we don't get a grip on control, regulation, and ethical frameworks now, we risk waking up in a world we no longer understand and can't shut off. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about responsibility. So what do you think? Are we headed into an AI-powered golden age or sleepwalking into digital extinction? Let's talk in the comments. Hit like if you learned something new, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and I'll see you in the next video.